Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we're talking about the state of Kansas in a recent article that suggests Kansas Republicans could be trying to redistrict the only Democrat in the state of Kansas out of that seat and giving the Republicans another seat. So the article from kcur.org goes over that State House Republicans already redrew Democrat Sheriff David's district in 2022 and they may try and do it again, joining the national gerrymandering battle over the U.S. House of Representatives. Less than 4 years after winning their preferred congressional map, some Kansas Republicans want to reshape the state's U.S. House districts again ahead of 2026 in their midterm elections. If they are successful, it could mean ousting the only Democrat in the state's congressional delegation. Kansas would join a wave of Republican and Democratic-led states engaging in overt gerrymandering to tip the balance of power in the House and the closely divided House of Representatives. In a statement, Republican Kansas Senate President Ty Masterson, who is also running for governor, that's an important note as well, said he would consider redistricting as a part of the bigger battle for the heart and soul of the country. It is crucial that President Trump can continue working with the Republican Congress to keep delivering on his agenda and ushering in America's comeback. Redistricting normally happens every 10 years following the national census, and politicians typically shy away from making partisan objectives explicit during the map drawing process. But this year, political pressures at the federal level have pushed state legislatures to ignore these norms. Texas, California, Missouri, and several other states are in various stages of the mid-decade redistricting, with the unvarnished goal of electing candidates of their preferred party. The 3rd Congressional District in northeastern Kansas, which Democratic Representative Sharice Davids has held since 2019, would be the likely target of the gerrymandering by Republican state lawmakers. Voters should pick their representatives, not the other way around, Davids told the Kansas News Service in an email. This unprecedented step would only further polarize this country and harm our democracy. The redistricting effort may be more difficult, however, in Kansas than in other states. It's only been a few years since the Republican-dominated state legislature passed congressional maps targeting David's district and the Kansas City metro area. Those drawings sparked intense political debate and a state Supreme Court case, which the map's proponents won. Supporters said redistricting ensured equal representation in Kansas, while civil rights groups and Democrats argued the new boundaries split up racially diverse areas for partisan advantage. The 2022 map allowed the left-leaning city of Lawrence in eastern Kansas into the vast, mostly rural 1st District, which stretches over 350 miles to the state's western border with Colorado. The plan also bisected Winnebago County, the state's most ethnically and economically diverse county. The nonpartisan gerrymandering research project gave the 2022 Kansas electoral map an F for partisan fairness, yet Davids held onto her seat by a wide margin in 2022 and 2024. Patrick Miller, a political science professor at Kent State University, who served as an expert witness in the 2022 Kansas redistricting trial, said Republicans have one option left to create 4 safe GOP districts. The only way that you can ensure Sheriff David loses, or any Democrat, is if you break Johnson County up. Johnson County is the most populous in the state. Its leftward shift over the last few decades have undermined Democrats' ability to win statewide races and ballot initiatives. Lawmakers in 2022 proposed several maps that involved cleaving Johnson County into 2, but settled on one called Ad Astra 2, which left the county intact. Miller suspects that they may have something to do with local politics. There are Republicans from Johnson County in the legislature who would have to be on board with this, he said. Republicans would need to rally nearly every member of the 2/3 majorities in the State House and Senate to pass a new map, since Democrat Governor Laura Kelly would likely veto the map. That is a very big wrinkle in this race, or in this situation, that is often underreported. Until next year, when there is a governor's race up, the new governor of Kansas would likely be a Republican, but right now, the Democratic governor of Kansas is Laura Kelly. So the Republicans may have a better chance at redistricting after next year's election for the map in 2028. But by then, obviously, the 2026 House elections will be over, and Kansas having one Democratic seat could maybe potentially cost the Republicans the House majority, so that's very important. Republican Chris Croft, a legislative leader in the large city of Overland Park in Johnson County, did not respond to requests for comment. Kevin Walker, the chief policy officer of the Overland Park Chamber of Commerce, said his organization opposed splitting Johnson County up in 2022 and would take the same stance now. He said dividing the county between 2 districts would threaten its history of strong economic development. The success that we have had has come through a high degree of collaboration, he said. We don't need more boundaries splitting it up. So this is very interesting, and it's a battle that's underway in a lot of places around the country right now. In Kansas, this is what the map currently looks like, where, as you can see, there's currently 3 U.S. Republican House seats and 1 for the Democrats, overall 4 in total. Now, the only Democratic one is Kansas 3, which is held by the Democrat Davids, as the article said. Kansas's 3rd congressional district is listed at Democrat +2, so it is slightly leaning towards the Democrats, though it's not by an insurmountable amount. Essentially, if everything went the Republicans' way, the Republicans would still be competitive in this district. But they also know the Republicans are going to be up in 2026 in a midterm election environment that should be more favorable for the Democrats. Now, in 2022, Davids won it by 12.2%. 2024, Democrats won it by 10.8%. So the Republicans are looking at the map, and they're looking at states that are Republican and trying to get as many House seats as possible. Now, Kansas, overall, when you look at it, is a pretty red state. It voted at the presidential level in 2024 for Donald Trump by about 16.1%. Trump won it by 16 points, and when you compare it to other states that's similar in margin, let's see here. Montana, for instance, was about a 20-point win for Trump, and at the House level, it has 2 seats. Both are Republicans. The only other state I can really say that has a similar situation to Kansas based on the votes, you could say really is Missouri, and they also have a similar situation going here where they're trying to redistrict, where they're trying to get out one of the Democratic districts and make it to Republican. Now, a criticism of the Republicans has been that based on the vote totals that some of these Democratic states like Massachusetts, for instance, Massachusetts, 36% of people voted for Kamala Harris in the state of Mass, and yet when you look at the House map, the Democrats have every single House seat in the state. So Republicans have been using that as an argument for a lot of redistricting. But now, in Kansas, Democrats got about 40.3% of the House vote in 2024. The presidential race, Democrats got 41.04%. But now Republicans are trying to redraw the only Democratic district in Kansas. I think Kansas, it is possible the Republicans could draw out the 3rd district, but it's certainly a lot tougher in Kansas than it is in a state like Missouri. Where Missouri, it's a Republican-controlled legislature like it is in Kansas, but there's a Republican governor to sign it into law. Kansas is a Democratic governor. The Democratic governor would likely veto any map that gets rid of the 3rd district. So the Republicans would need to have a full supermajority, veto-proof supermajority to get this done, and that's going to be a lot tougher. Now, if the Republicans can actually do this, though, if the Republicans can get Kansas' 3rd district to flip and give all 4 House districts to the Republicans, that would be very significant for 2026. But right now, the current House map has Republicans at 212, Democrats are at 202. Now, Republicans are going to be gaining 1 House seat in Missouri 5 that will be officially going to the Republicans in the new map redraw. That puts Republicans at 213, Democrats still at 201. Now, if the Republicans can flip this district, Kansas 3, this would get Republicans to 214. This does not take into effect the California redistricting that'll be happening. That'll probably take away 5 Republican House seats. Or Florida is reportedly interested at looking at redistricting as well. So since redistricting is very much up in the air right now, it's hard to kind of keep up to date with the most recent numbers and scenarios for the House in 2026. But if Kansas, big if, was able to redistrict, that 1 House seat could make a very big difference. Also, with Kansas neighboring Nebraska as well, Nebraska, when we go back to the map here, it has 1 district in Nebraska's 2nd district that is super competitive that's held by Republican Don Bacon. Now, this district overall, though, when you look at the Cook PVI, is about Kansas's 3. It's about Democrat +3, very similar to this one. And this one is expected to be a Democratic flip in 2026, which is why the president is trying to redraw Nebraska's map and have it be a more solid Republican district. Now, Nebraska at large voted about 20.5% for Trump over Harris, so kind of in a similar situation to what Kansas was. So if Republicans can do that and redraw the map in Nebraska, that would also net them another seat. So you see the strategy here, that Gavin Newsom and the Democrats are going to get net about 5 seats in California. Republicans, if they can redraw Nebraska and Kansas, will be netting about 2. Texas, they've already done about 5 seats or so if they can win Texas's 28th seat. So essentially, California and Texas would cancel each other out, and if Republicans could pull off Nebraska, Kansas, and Missouri, this would be Republican +3 on the current House map. The Democrats in this scenario, though it does sound bleak, Democrats could still win the House on this scenario. The Republicans hold 215 House seats. Democrats, if they win up to 218, which would be about 18 or so of the 21 remaining House seats, they could still get there. And the question will be, though, do Republicans redraw in Ohio, which has been rumored to be happening as well, and Florida is also being mentioned. So redistricting is still very much up in the air, and there's potential for Kansas to maybe be getting involved as well. I will say this, of all the Republican states that are redrawing their map, Kansas, given the fact their governor is a Democrat, may be the Democrat saving grace in the state. As I'm sure all their candidates running for governor on the Republican side will run on their campaign of redrawing the Kansas map, but by then it might be a little bit too late for the 2026 midterm elections, which could end up playing very big dividends for the Democrats in 2026. But that's all the latest I have for you on Kansas and its potential redistricting. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to hit like and subscribe. Please, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. I know redistricting and the House map can all be very confusing and hard to keep up with. So if you do have any comments or questions, please do not hesitate to leave them down below. Thank you so much for watching. Again, please remember to hit like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in a future video.